Now this may seem like, if you're just getting into modeling, this may seem like it's a little bit, I don't know, too advanced or a little bit jumping ahead a little bit, but really it's very simple. You're just adding points to this underlying mesh that we shaped, and then you're adding polygons between those, and we're just making sure that there's 4 of those lines, and you can see as I hover over, it's going to give you suggestions when I hold down shift on where to place those polygons, and so you can just, you know, use your judgment and figure out where you want to kind of place those. Okay, so I think you're going to be able to do this. I'll just come in here and kind of finish this up, and I'm just kind of ending close to where I think the midline of this would be, so you don't have to get it exact, and also we don't have to have the polygons be too terribly close together. So use something like that. You can see here where this is all very close together, which is fine. And so we can start to add those up. And I'm only adding just a few of those points because, you know, we're working with existing points as well. We're not doing it completely from scratch because we have already, oops, I can get the right one there, already those added. Now we can start to pull in these larger open areas, start to pull these points across because you don't want it kind of too close together. We'll try to keep that last loop very close to the armhole or the arm opening. Just middle mouse dragging this around. So maybe all the way over here. Get those a little bit closer together. Maybe this one we can bring down a little bit. Here we'll add one, and you can see as I added, that was going through the geometry, but when I added it, the line, it snapped up to the NURBS object, which is what we want. Okay, so something like that. And again, just kind of smoothing things out. Getting those kind of even. Relaxing those. And you start to get up here into these areas where you have to figure out where you want to start to add those. So we could come in here and start to add one like that. And then let's add one right here and right here. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of smooth that out a little. So it's really, really not that complicated. Okay, we just want to add that geometry across the surface. You can see here where we've got some of these points off a little bit from where we want them to be. And so I can sort of move that over a little bit. And that's actually pretty close. If we need to kind of move this down a little, we can. Just get it close there. All right, let's take one last pass of kind of relaxing this, holding down shift, and kind of moving this across the surface, just kind of brushing across. Along the back as well. All right, and we get something like this. So now when we're done with our topology, we can turn off Quad Draw, and then we get a new piece of geometry. We can go in and let's turn off the Make Live, and we can do that just by turning off the magnet there. Make Live's been disabled. Let's hide our blank, so Control H to hide. Here is our new topology that we created. So that's what you just did by placing those points and then holding down shift. You created all those polygons that are now connected together to create this really kind of complex looking shell. The next thing that we'll do is I want to kind of straighten up some of these points, so I'm going to select those vertices just at the front bottom. I'm going to use scale, and let me go into the scale tool, and actually we'll just use scale there, and we can scale this down until it's nice and straight. You can also snap it by going to move, holding down X, we can snap to a grid line and then just move the whole thing over so it's nice and straight. Let's go up to the points on the back, and I want those, because we're going to be creating a mirror image, I want those to be lined up exactly along that center line. So I'm going to select all of those points along the back. You can see from the front here they're not nearly lined up, and so we'll hit X with the move tool active. Now you can see that those aren't snapping, so let's go down and we need to make sure that we turn off retain component spacing. And so I think the ones at the bottom were just so close they didn't actually, they snapped but they didn't align. And so you want to make sure that that component spacing is off, as well as you want to have the world move axis selected. So now this front is lined up with that line from our image, and the back is lined up here with the back. Okay, so we get something like that. All right, now if you need to move these points kind of along the surface, we can go into our move tool and choose normal, and that will allow us to kind of move these points along the surface. So being able to kind of make sure that that is spaced out correctly without changing really the shape of the geometry that we've already created. Or you can go back in and use Quad Draw to kind of clean that up a little bit. All right, so something like that. Let's close out of here. Now we need to create the kind of mirror image of this. So in order to mirror geometry, we're going to select it, and we're going to go to Mesh, Mirror Geometry, and let's open up the options. Now we want to mirror this across the x-axis. You see this is the x direction. We have this side, we need the other side. Looking at this axis, this is the positive x, the other side is the negative x, and that's really what we need. And so we'll do, in the mirror direction, we'll choose negative x, mirror that, and you can see that that's created the other side, so we don't have to draw the other side. So let's go ahead and stop here, and then in the next lesson we'll come in and begin